My name is Dylan Rosenthal. I know some of you, um, and
I'm Jessica.
and so today we're talking to you guys about what the IB diploma is and just telling you a little bit more about it from the student perspective. We're both seniors. We're both finishing up our IB diploma right now. This is like one of our last assignments, so it's very exciting for us.
You're being graded on how we present that.
No, we're not being graded on that. It's just we just have to do this, just kind of one of the requirements. So basically, for those of you who don't know, the IB Diploma is a comprehensive program that requires students to take a total of 6 IB courses throughout high school. And there's also 3 additional components called CAS, TOK, and the EE. And we'll talk about those in a minute, but those 3 things turn into one class which is called CORE. We both take CORE in the mornings, so we get here at 7:30 a.m. for our class, but there's also the option to take it during, during like a 5th period. So essentially, the diploma is an international program. It didn't start in the United States, but it's slowly moving over here, and we're one of the only schools in the U.S. that has it. I mean, there's over 100, I'd say, in the U.S., but it does distinguish you by taking the diploma from other schools. And so we have this lovely IB wheel, and this sums up the program pretty well. On the outside, you have the IB diploma and international mindedness, which is something that the diploma tries to teach you, because especially at North Broward, you have the opportunity to take it with international students, such as Jessica. And in some of the classes, it's really helpful. Like in my global politics class, where we're talking about issues of global significance, it's really cool to get different perspectives. And then you have the 6 groups, which are subjects, and you take classes within the subjects. So studies in language and literature, math, arts, all that stuff. And we'll talk about what classes we took in a second. And then you have the 3 components I was telling you guys about a second ago. And then in the middle you have approaches to learning, which is just how, as an IB diploma candidate, you do learning.
Okay, so now I will talk about like the 6 classes I took in the past 2 years. So I'm taking Math HL, Physics HL, Biology HL, IB English and Lit ASL, IB Chinese Language and Literature ASL, and IB Economics SL. Since my intended major for college is biology, so that's how I chose my curriculum.
And so I took SL, ESS, HL Computer Science, and then last year I took SL,
Who's your teacher?
I have Abzuri. I took SL Spanish last year, but then I moved into HL Spanish this year because it really wasn't that difficult of a class, and taking 4 HLs just looked better for college. And then I took Math SL, HL Literature, and HL Global Politics.
So the majority of the courses you take will be like a 2-year classes, and at the end of each course during the month of May, there will be exams for your class. So like this year, I'll be taking exams from May 6th to May 20th, so it's about 2 weeks.
Same here.
It's gonna be fun, right? And those exams are broken up into like 2 or 3 papers. I believe 3 papers for HLs and 2 papers for SLs. And it will be taken on separate days. So don't worry, you won't have like too many exams on the same day. And if some of you have already taken like AP exams, it's like the similar thing. You're due during the AP exam for the IB.
So I already talked about core. So now we'll go into one of the requirements, which is CAS. And so CAS stands for Creativity, Activity, and Service. So what that means is for the 18 months that you take the diploma, you have to keep a log of all the activities you do that fall under those 3 things. And you have to provide evidence, reflect on them, and all that fun stuff. So service relates to community service, getting active in your community. Activity is being active. You have to do some sort of physical activity. And then creativity is something artistic where you're expressing yourself. And they do this because the diploma is seen as this very rigorous course load, and they don't want you spending all your time doing homework and studying and all that stuff. So they try to force you to kind of do these different things. But honestly, it doesn't add too much of a burden. But for me, CAS has forced me to become a little bit more well-rounded because, balance is something that's really hard for me because I like to take on a lot of activities. And since I had to do CAS, I had to sort of structure my activities around that. And so because of that, I find myself participating in a bunch of different things, and it's really easy to fill CAS requirements. Like for example, I just asked someone to prom, and one of my CAS activities was like making the sign because I painted it. Like it could be that simple.
Congrats.
And thanks. And so I honestly don't see myself continuing any of the activities I started with CAS because all the things I've been doing I submitted as CAS, but that the reason I chose those activities is because they were things I enjoyed, and I did not want to do CAS that I wasn't enjoying because that would just be wasting my time.
So, like for me, I think CAS gave me a lot of opportunities to improve myself from like different aspects, as Dylan mentioned, because CAS include like creativity, activity, and service. So I can improve myself from like all three aspects. So during the process, I learned how to balance my time and how to make like an overall arrangement. Because during the like a huge amount of workload from your courses, you still need to balance your time, and you need to get some time to finish your CAS and things like that. So for me, I think my creativities and all three things are well balanced, and I focus a little bit more on creativity since I don't have I didn't take any fine arts courses, so I want to improve myself from the creativity aspect. Because I took art and I was in choir in 9th grade and 10th grade, so I wanted to continue doing things like that. So I used CAS to finish the things I wanted to do, but like without being in that course. So that's the reason why I love CAS. And yeah.
So another part of CAS is this thing called the CAS project, and what that means is you have to plan in a group for about 4 to 6 weeks some sort of project that you're going to do at the school or outside of school, and it has to fit 2 out of the 3 components, so creativity, activity, or service. So for mine, I had a lot of fun doing mine. We continued it for 2 years. We started it last year. Some of you might know about it, and you probably do. Well, you should because you're in Key Club. But it's this thing called the Key Club Aftercare Program. Yeah. So every Wednesday after school, a group of volunteers and I would head over to lower school. Have you, what?
Is that your CAS?
Yeah. Well, it lasted, so CAS is only like a month. So we did that for a month, and it was a lot of fun. So we just kept doing it for 2 years. And so, or a year and a half, I don't know. And it's going to continue on next year also. So basically what it is we go over there and then we teach them about different cultures with like activities. We went outside with them, played sharks and minnows, read books to them, art activities. And it was just a lot of fun and just a way to give back because I was here in lower school and I was terrible, and the kids there have not changed. And there's a lot of them on Wednesdays especially because school ends early and parents can't pick them up on time. So we just kind of helped out with the lower school and with the kids. And so with CAS, you also have to say what your learning outcomes you're meeting, and that's just making you aware of what you're doing and how that's impacting the world around you and you as a person. And so my favorite one was demonstrating the skills and recognizing the benefits of working collaboratively. And that's just because the IB diploma is difficult. There's going to be a lot of times where you're overwhelmed and stressed out, but when you have that group of people, it is a lot of fun. Because, I mean, I could be studying for something and then someone would send me like a diploma meme and it'd be just great. And you just have all these people to complain to, like honestly, and it's just a really good community that you have, and I would not have met some of the people I have if I wasn't in the diploma.
Okay, so talking about the learning outcomes, I think the most important one for me is like risk takers, since I'm like trying to do new things from like creativity and services. So I just want to talk about one creativity like experience I did, is that I made a film for the graduating seniors for last year, and I've never made a film by myself before, so I kind of learned. So I started to learn how to edit the videos from YouTube, and I asked my friends and my parents for help. So I created like about 12 minutes video for the seniors, and that's how I demonstrate my creativity and things like that. Yeah. So I can talk a little bit about my CAS project, since I'll be so actually my CAS project is from January till this January till I graduate. So it's a CAS project it's called Panda Project. So since I'm from Chengdu, and which is like Panda's hometown, and I did an internship in the Panda Research Based Center over the summer, and that's how I wanted to start the whole project. This is because Panda is our national treasure, so like we put a lot of money to like on trying to preserve their population and everything, and the result turned like super successful. So I think, and I believe a lot of people in the world loves panda, right? I don't want to make it awkward, but yeah. So I think I can use like panda to raise the awareness for in the like global community, and to tell us that even you like only do a little things, you can still like protect our environment and things. So I will be selling some products and like a panda toy and some postcards during lunch today, and also after school, and it's gonna continue till next week. So I'll raise all the money and I'll donate it to the Sawgrass Wildlife Center, so that I can use the money to help the animals. Yeah.
And so again, like with Cass, it's just great that you, like now I have these, like evidence of everything I've done for the past 2 years in high school. So it's just kind of like a good thing to look back on, and has helped me just see everything I've done. So if I ever want to look back at high school, I can just look at that and it'll tell me what I did. And so another aspect of CORE is called TOK, which stands for Theory of Knowledge, and that's what your first year will really focus on. And what that is it is a course that allows you to question the way that you think and what you know. And it's a very difficult course to kind of just get started with, because they're teaching you not to believe in what you were taught, and it's just a really weird idea. But in the end, it is kind of cool, because it's really what allows all of your IB classes to connect to each other. So in ESS, we talk about that in global, because there's a clear connection. But also we take situations in Spanish class and they can talk about them, and it's really cool because it really brings the whole diploma together. Instead of taking all these separate classes, you get to see how they're all connected in that way. And with TOK, there's a few assessments that come along with that, but you have guidance.
So you'll do a presentation in the first year, and then you'll write in like 1,600 words.
It's a short essay. It's not that
Yeah,
bad.
it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
The other essay you have to write is called the EE, which is the extended essay, and that is a 4,000 word long research paper that you have to do all on your own. And I personally believe that there wasn't very much support. Some diploma students feel like they got a lot of support. I felt very much on my own with that. But so basically what that is one of the classes you're taking, or it should be one of the classes you're taking, you choose a topic within that class. I chose global politics because that's what really interested me. And I wrote my EE on Muslim immigrants coming into Sweden and how that's kind of changing the social structure and the political structure in Sweden. And I found that really interesting. I got a lot of research on that, and I actually got to speak to some Swedish citizens and got their input, and that was a lot of fun because it was just something different I never had the chance to do before. So the EE really pushes you outside your comfort zone, but I mean, you already be ahead of the process when you're in college, because not that many high school students have had to write a 4,000 word research paper, but you will have to do that. Or we'll have to do that next year.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little about my EE. So since I mentioned that I'm interested in biology, so my EE topic is in biology, and my topic was, is there a correlation between the growth of E. coli and salinity? So I planned all the lab, and I did it, and I collect all the data by myself, and I did get some help from my supervisor, Mr. York, and I learned a lot of skills like lab and writing, and I think this is a really good preparation for me, like for college and things like that. Yeah.
So, with any program, especially the diploma, there are imperfections to them. And so personally, the thing that I would change about the diploma is you're on your own, because they are trying to teach you how to be more independent. But because of this, the teachers or the classes, they can stack up, and so you'll have all these assignments due at the same time, and that is very overwhelming, and it can make for some very late nights. And it's not that the teachers aren't understanding, it's that the IB has very strict deadlines that you have to meet with your assignments. And so if you're not on top of it, then they'll all slam at the same time. So I would just suggest being on top of what you're doing. And that goes for even if you're not taking the diploma, just be aware of your deadlines because your teachers don't have to constantly remind you. And especially now that there's no Sunday post or anything like that, when they tell you there's an assignment, write it down.
Yeah. And I think so. So for me, in the past 2 years, I'm kind of like procrastinating. So I struggle a lot for the assignments because so for example, so in the second year on Wednesday I have physics, math, and Chinese, and for each of the class I'll have a mock paper on Wednesday. So I'll be testing the whole day on Wednesday, and if you didn't plan out your like review plan beforehand, you'll get super struggle because like there's no way that you can review like 3 stuff on the same night, especially for physics HL and math HL. It must take longer than you think, and I think you really should like plan beforehand, like, and don't procrastinate, and don't wait until the end, and so that you'll have like a huge amount of workload. So just plan everything ahead.
So overall, the diploma has taught me a lot. I've grown in the sense of understanding the importance of time management. I have definitely not perfected that, and this is because of all the assignments that are due around the same time. You have to be aware of all that and try to get it done. I didn't learn that till this year. But we've also, as a group, grown together because we took core together last year in the mornings as well. So we have this sort of tight-knit community amongst ourselves where there's only 35 of us this year and that are in the diploma, and so knowing that we're all in it together is just nice, and we always have each other's backs with any assignments. Like if she called me and needed help with an assignment, I would totally help her. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, it because we always help each other. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I kind of procrastinate. So the biggest thing I learned from the IBA diploma is time management. I mean, I'm still not really good at that, but since we may have a lot of like dues on the same days, like IAs and everything, we need to manage our time wisely. And this is a like suggestion you guys really, if you're thinking to like taking IBA diploma, you really need to know how to do like time management so that you won't like stressed out on the same day. So and since English is not my first language, in the IB diploma I have grown a lot while using my second language English when I was doing the oral presentation like FOAs and IOCs for English. So yeah, that's what I have grown as well.
And so the diploma also offers classes that you're not offered as freshmen and sophomores. For example, I'd never been able to take a global politics class before, and I mentioned global politics a lot because that's what I'm interested in, and that's what I'm planning on going into college for as of right now, like political science. But I would never have been able to explore political science or global politics if I didn't take the diploma. I mean, of course, you can take GloPo, but it is a little different when you do the diploma because, again, you have the EE, so I got to really go in depth with that. But then also connecting it to TOK and giving you a kind of different perspective on it. So.
Yeah, and for me, the class I took here is that I've never imagined that I'll take Chinese again, like under American system. But I took Chinese language and literature A in my junior and senior year, and actually I learned a lot more, like the analyzing skills like from my mother tongue language. Yeah, so that experience just amazing because I thought I'll never like study like Chinese in my entire high school life. Yeah.
But so my preconceived notions about the diploma were that. Well, so before I even took it, I talked to my sister about it. She graduated 2 years before me. She did not take the diploma. When I told her I was considering it, she was very angry at me about it because her friends that took it told her bad things about the diploma. And so she was very against me taking it. And she said I regret it because of all the work. And I don't regret it, but I did have a lot of work. But I think it was very useful for me because I like to be busy. I'm a very busy person, and so I was told the workload would overrun my life, and I wouldn't have time to hang out with my friends over the weekends. That may be true sometimes, not all the time, but keep in mind my diploma experience is a little bit different because I also work like a part-time job. So like I have schoolwork and then I have to go to work and then I don't get home till like 11 sometimes. And so because of that I stay up late to do my work and I won't hang out with my friends as much. But I mean in the end the diploma, we survived it. Like we're here. It's over for us basically. We just have to take our exams and hopefully get it. But that's a different story. But so I think the diploma was very useful in the end. And I've heard from some people that are in college and did the diploma that sometimes the diploma was harder than the college was. So like, I mean, that's great. I'm glad to hear it.
And we do have some benefits like in college application process, because like we have like such a strong and outstanding profile, and that's like what college will look for.
And it is like the most rigorous schedule you can take. Like IB diploma as a whole is just seen as very rigorous. Obviously, taking a mix of APs and IBs or whatever you are is difficult, but like our school kind of ranks the IB as that because they really want to promote the IB for international families to come here because there's not that many schools that offer. But I would say, to give you guys some advice, I know only one of you is considering doing a diploma, but if we convince anyone else, I would say that you should keep a list of your work at all times, starting at the beginning of your junior year. And if there's a specific class that you don't like, within like the first few weeks, meet with Miss Wolpowitz, who's our IB coordinator, tell her and she will make it happen. I am taking a class, computer science, which I very much regret taking because that's not something that interests me at all whatsoever. And I was told I wouldn't need to know how to code before taking it, but you do. So don't.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, so don't take it if you don't know anything about computer science. But I went to Ms. Wolfowitz and we had a conversation about it. And this was late. This was like end of first semester, and she gave me the ability and the chance to switch, but I decided not to because I was misled by someone else.
So the only advice I want to give you guys is that the communications with your teachers is super important. So if you have like any questions, just go to your teacher because they'll always be there and they'll always help you. And because like you cannot like keep all the problems to yourself, you cannot just sit there and look at the problems. You will never like get the solution and solve the problem. But like if you talk to your teachers, they'll find out the best way to help you out.
And then, again, going back to what you said earlier about helping out with college applications and everything like that, I've been able to talk about the diploma in almost all of my applications. It's just something that really makes you stand out because, again, you have a 4,000 word research paper on a topic that interests you. So if you're in an interview, you can talk about it. And just all your different activities and projects that you did that we didn't even mention, their colleges care. Your scholarships, if you apply for them, they'll care. It's a very interesting, kind of different style than you're used to. So, yeah. Anything else to add?